Let's see.
We got it. Mike is muted. All right. We're wrapping up here in the war room. Week 3 Sunday. All games just ended. Some interesting things today, some injuries to talk about, get you a jump on next week, etc. Who would have thought that 24-14 first half, Dallas, Chicago, even with the CeeDee Lamb injury, I thought that would have hit the over easily, which we liked, and only 7 points in the second half.
Right.
Otherwise, some interesting games. Let's go through the games and the injuries, Taylor, to get people a jump on week 3.
All right,
some good plays, right?
Yes.
We loved Caleb Williams over. That's an easy one.
Our props actually did good. If you look behind me, Doc, they got Caleb Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, along a couple others. I want to start with 2 significant injuries to start the day, Doc. Najee Harris and James Conner. Walk through what you saw in the Najee Harris video.
Najee Harris, unfortunately, is not ankle. It's announced as ankle out, but unfortunately, it's not ankle. It's Achilles, left Achilles tendon rupture. You see it. It's pretty clean. It's pretty easy. Unfortunately, it's going to be season over with surgery. No chance to return as a running back, unfortunately. And he was just getting all the yards and carries. He was getting better and better, etc. I think he was about to take Hampton's job until that happened.
And Hampton ended up with 1970 and a touchdown, Doc. So he is being the bell cow. He's the guy there now, right, with Harris down. Next one I want to talk with real quick is James Conner. We saw something significant in the video today. Tell me what you saw.
Well, I always say don't judge the reaction. Literally every member of the team was out there was James Conner. I was like, honestly, I'm not trying to make fun of the situation. That looked like a college sideline out there. There looked like 100 people out there. That's how much James Conner's loved. And what we saw is a bad right lower leg issue, trapped underneath, likely fracture dislocation. But, with the bodies on top, no clear view as to the exact details, but it certainly looks like significant in season, unfortunately.
One of the top fantasy draft picks we just saw in the second half games, CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. Tell me what you saw in his left leg injury.
Yeah, he got rolled up on. Thankfully, the foot wasn't planted. It is a high ankle variant. We thought it was more mild, more of an eversion type. But remember, he's a route runner, and you got to really cut off that left ankle. He did what we thought, which is return to play after being taped. But the question is, would he last? And he did not last.
Just one play. Yeah.
One play. And thereby, next week is certainly in doubt. But I do not see this as a high ankle injured reserve situation.
Okay.
I think this is a short-term left ankle situation. Is next week promised? No, but I think it stays well under the 4-week IR threshold. MRI to come, further imaging, etc.
Going through the scores, week to week, Doc, Tampa Bay has continually been one of the, most injured teams, and you couldn't possibly tell me they can get another injury, especially at the wide receiver. Even Agbuka played through his, groin, injury. Tell me what you saw in the Mike Evans injury.
Mike Evans, he's had a history of hamstring issues. He had a good game, but hamstring again. So, you can't judge severity of hamstring on video, but certainly it would be an upset to play this next week. So that would be, hopefully they can get Chris Godwin back. Apparently he's on the verge. That would be a swap, Godwin for Evans. I don't think Godwin's 100%. Agbuka played relatively well, made some great catches.
He did, yes.
But it's the Tampa Bay offensive line that's a concern. It's their offensive line with both tackles and the interior linemen. 60% of the offensive line missing, although it said Wirfs might have a chance to return.
Him and Godwin maybe
next week. So we'll see there. And interesting game. Jets, they got the cover, but Tampa got the win.
I do want to mention on Evans, Doc. I remember in the past we've covered his soft tissue injuries, and the big thing that comes up is the word decoy. They maybe a lot of the times they play him, but he's just a big decoy. And he actually has caught a touchdown in some of the games he's had the soft tissue injury because you can use him in those 10-yard red
first
zones.
game
Yeah.
a couple years ago,
Mhm.
we faded him, and he had one catch for like 2 yards
But
and
it was a touchdown. It was a touchdown catch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike Evans is a great player. Bucky Irving was a key prop that we said under based on the offensive line, and that's where you should look at the player edge. What we do is forget Bucky Irving's health. We're saying it's not just the running back, it's the O-line and the defensive front seven they're against. And the O-line was not healthy. And Bucky got a lot of touches and still didn't get his yards.
25 carries, yeah.
25 carries.
66 yards, yeah.
And did not get his prop. 25 carries and did not get his prop.
If you told somebody
something.
he had 25 carries, you would think he easily gets his prop. It was 70.5 the total, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to mention just for Bucky Irving, Doc, it had a minus 41.5 player edge, which is a pretty outstanding number. But the way you just look at that is that I would even say, Doc, if you had Bucky Irving on your fantasy team, it would be pretty hard to start him. He did have 99 yards, combined, passing, rushing, receiving, but that's what our player edge shows. There's kind of stuff like that, the voids and like what the reason why, like you said, the offensive line. So
yeah, good and bad. That's why Caleb Williams popped so high, right? And bad Bucky Irving popped low. The props have been pretty hot with that. Looking at the player edge, looking at the associated injuries, not just of the player themselves, it's the people around them.
I want to go through like a little bit of a quarterback carousel that we had this week going into next week. I'm going to give you 4 quarterbacks, and you tell me what you think their best chance of returning, and maybe even order them like we usually do in the past.
Okay.
Start with Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Yep. Justin Fields,
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy. And also talk about how our big thing we talk about. Did I say, is that 4?
Yeah, there was 5. Who's the 5th one that's missing?
Who am I missing?
Who's the 5th quarterback that's out?
Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow. Okay.
I didn't count him. I meant returning, but yeah,
Okay.
you confused me there.
Okay.
But yeah, the 4. Tell me your thoughts on their injuries and if they're returning. Someone hiding behind health.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is not returning.
Yes.
Okay, that's the easiest.
Maybe they
one.
need another quarterback though, with the way Browning showed up today. But yeah, go on.
The second most not returning next week is probably JJ McCarthy. Then the other 3 have a reasonable chance to return
This week.
week,
Mhm.
which is Daniels is next.
Fields.
Then it's Purdy and Fields.
Okay.
Or I think Fields and Purdy play this next week. Okay. Purdy teased it this week.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones got the job done, but it's Purdy's team. Justin Fields, they ruled him out early, hiding behind health concussions. Tyrod did okay, but I don't think he didn't do enough for the team to say to Justin Fields, you sit another week.
Okay.
The natural progression is that he'll get a week of practice this week. If Justin Fields gets a week of practice, he will be the starter. That's my impression. Purdy, it's his team. If he can get the job done, he'll play. Justin Fields, if he gets a week of practice.
So if you're seeing a DNP on Wednesday, you start to worry and maybe the hiding behind health another week for Taylor and Fields.
Correct.
Okay.
But Purdy doesn't need to be full practice on Wednesday. As long as he's ready to go, he will be the starter. Justin Fields, as long as he practices this week, he will be the starter. Jaden Daniels, Mariota did a nice job. Didn't really get tested. But it depends on how cautious Washington wants to be with their superstar. But I do think he has a reasonable chance to play this week. Then we get to J.J. McCarthy. Why do I say J.J. McCarthy is not playing? Just Kevin O'Connell is very smart. We talked about hiding behind health. You don't want to put I get he's not a rookie technically, but he essentially is a rookie.
Essentially, yeah.
Out there when he's not 100%. Other quarterbacks have played through high ankle. Not calling JJ soft. It's a coaching decision that's smart for him. And guess what? Carson Wentz did okay. That gives what? More time for O'Connell to say, JJ, let's get completely right. You already heard that JJ McCarthy is going to make the 2-week trip to Europe with the Vikings. They played 2 games overseas. Makes him possible for this week. But I still think now if Carson Wentz had a game like Jake Browning, JJ might be elevated.
He might be starting. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that they're faking injury. Let's talk about it with Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor got the start because Justin Fields, one good Justin, bad Justin, and concussion protocol, no practice, gives Tyrod the better chance. Remember when Tyrod Taylor got his lung iatrogenic puncture?
People think you did it, but yes, yeah. But
Gosh,
yes,
you still bring that up.
I always remember. Yes.
Remember, I'm always introduced as San Diego Chargers. That was L.A. Chargers.
Correct. Yeah.
We were in this war room.
We were.
Unless I had a needle that's 100 miles long, I wasn't the one who punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung that day. But
right. Go on. Yeah.
When Justin Herbert came into the game, and I still remember Gates' story, Mr. Hall of Famer, saying, "What are you doing in the huddle?" When he saw Justin Herbert out there, because he thought it was Tyrod Taylor to start the game. That's how sudden it was. But here's the point. What did Anthony Lynn tell Tyrod Taylor in the media? It's Tyrod Taylor's job. As soon as he's healthy, he's playing. And then he went to the hospital, discharged. Then Justin Herbert played well, won. Not ready the second week. It's Tyrod Taylor's job. Justin Herbert played well, won. And then it slowly morphed to it's Tyrod Taylor's job, but we want him to be safe. And then it morphed to we don't want to risk any injury. We want to make sure he's 100% safe. And then it morphed to, we
have our franchise quarterback now.
Justin Herbert's now the starter.
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as Carson Wentz plays well, it gives Kevin O'Connell more cover to say the ankle isn't ready.
Okay.
If Carson Wentz stinks it up, I'll make you this prediction. If Carson Wentz stinks it up against the Steelers, JJ McCarthy is ready for the second game, right? They play Pittsburgh next. Am I right?
Pittsburgh and Dublin. Yep.
Pittsburgh and Dublin next. If Carson Wentz stinks it up against the Steelers, JJ McCarthy becomes the week 5 starter.
Okay.
But week 4 is Carson Wentz.
And that will be Cleveland. They'll play the Browns.
If Carson Wentz does well in week 4, he probably starts against Cleveland, and then it becomes time for JJ McCarthy again, in theory.
Well, then you have a week 6 bye. So then that's why I saw reports from especially Tracy Wolfson. She said week 7 is something they were looking into. So that
as long as Carson Wentz plays well,
yeah,
it is week 7 for JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
Because it'll be Carson Wentz played well enough. He's the starter now. If he plays well again, he's the starter. And guess what? Kevin O'Connell will say this. I'm not bagging on Kevin O'Connell. It's hiding behind health, and it's very smart of head coaches to do this. I'm being complimentary of Kevin O'Connell.
It's a good plan that they're doing. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
But he's going to say, you know what? It's a high ankle. He's not 100%. It's really advantageous for us to get the extra week of the bye week, week 6, to get a healthy JJ McCarthy week 7, therefore Carson Wentz. I mean, those words will come out of his mouth. I've been on the other side and heard him.
There's different decision-making, different ways to go there. Yeah, we'll be on that as well, watching Wentz and so forth. 3 wide receivers want to talk about, docs. 2 with the same kind of injury. Jauan, Jennings, and Xavier Worthy. Jennings didn't play with his shoulder and ankle this week. Worthy, like you said, Purdy teased maybe a little bit that he was going to play this week and didn't eventually. Tell me your thoughts on both those players.
I think they're both close and on the verge of playing. I think if it were playoffs or Super Bowl, Worthy, no question, would have played. I'm not questioning that he's injured. Of course, we saw that opening game Friday injury, the friendly fire on his shoulder. But he's ready to go with a harness. Here's the thing. It's not all about can you run downfield and can you catch a ball. There's also blocking involved. And he may not have felt comfortable in the run schemes having to block. Yes, right. Wide receivers have to block, yes, even if you're a downfield speed guy. And that plays into the equation. He could have. He was close, but we didn't think he would.
Right. Next one I have to happen today, Terry McLaurin with his quad injury happened when he was outstretched to try to get the TD that they took away. In the room, we thought maybe he could have got it, but tell me your thoughts on that injury.
Well, once again, muscle injury. Quad is for acceleration and deceleration. tough for a wide receiver, especially one who's getting the other side of 30, right? To get in and out of breaks. So expect him to miss a little bit of time there.
Do you attribute this to like camp time and him missing it due to the contract thing, like a soft tissue, or is this something that just comes up, speed of the game?
Think of it this way. Acclimation injuries are real. And if he would have started camp on time, this would have fallen towards the end of training camp or middle-ish, 2/3 of the way through training camp. Instead, it falls into the season.
So
that's the acclimation injury risk when you're not practicing or playing football.
Just a couple more to wrap it up. Non fantasy players. First off, we have Jauan Jones and Jack Conklin. Conklin missed with his elbow in the eye, and Jauan Jones went down today with his knee. That's the tackles for the Browns. They move him over the right with Conklin out and put him someone left, but that's a problem spot, Doc. And then what you saw from Lane Johnson. Talk about his neck real quick.
Well, let's have a right tackle segment.
Yes.
Lane Johnson, Zach Tom, Conklin, Jauan Jones.
Tom, exactly. Yes, good. Thank you.
So Eagles, Packers, Browns. Eagles, Lane Johnson, a neck issue, a stinger, did not return. Happened, I think, on the tush push, which I get it. Your head's down, and this is part of what the league says. Are there more injuries? Are there more injuries? Hard to say if it was just because of the tush push, but certainly a stinger, you got to wait for symptoms to go away. I think he can clear and play next week. However, it's a higher risk of recurrence. You know, it's like a concussion. Once you get one, you could call this a nerve concussion. Not exactly the same thing, but once you get a concussion, you're more likely to get a second one. Once you get a stinger, you're more likely to get a second one. So that's Lane Johnson. The Eagles pulled it out. Zach Tom, I think he misses some time now because he returned to play slightly earlier
with the oblique injury,
right? / hip pointer, and he left for the same injury in the first quarter. I think he's going to take more time here. It wouldn't shock me if he went on IR, but I think they're going to take more time to make sure, because the way the Packers feel like, and they're not blaming Tom, they're probably thanking him for trying to play through, but they're like, we played a man short today. We lost him early. We played a man down today.
And then they lost, so now you want to be 100% that you have the full lineup when they play next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conklin did not start the game. Jauan Jones got the hyperextension knee injury. I'm hoping Conklin with his eye and elbow is ready to go next week. Conklin might beat Jauan Jones back. So that's the Browns right tackle situation. And congratulations to them on pulling out a win. That might have knocked some Survivor people out, huh?
Yeah, that was the second most one I believe picked. Yeah, I had that, Doc, real quick, and then this morning I must have woke up on the right side of the bed because I chose it to Seattle, so that was okay. We're going to talk about two defensive injuries that are very big. One, Nick Bosa. Tell me what you saw on his knee injury.
Nick Bosa, edge rushing, injured his knee. Let's talk about the good news. Did not see an ACL tear.
Opposite of the ACL tear in the past as well.
Opposite side.
Yes.
Left
correct,
knee was ACL. And when you do tear an ACL on one side, there is a higher propensity to tear the other, but did not see ACL tear on the right knee. So let's remain hopeful it's something short of that. Is it meniscus? Is it a patella subluxation? I don't want to get into the guess bag, but at least I don't see it as season ending for Nick Bosa.
Last one, Doc. Derek Stingley. Just educate people real quick on a rib cartilage injury and a broken rib, and symptoms on both.
Rib fractures, you can argue more dangerous because you might get a punctured lung. Rib fractures, potentially more painful early on if they're moving or unstable. But rib fractures, because of good blood supply, heal more quickly than cartilage rib injuries, which don't have the same blood supply, take longer to heal. For Stingley, I think based on what happened to him and the reports of abdomen and or ribs, it's rib cartilage, it's rib soft cartilage, it's the anterior lower rib cage, which gets to abdominal muscles attaching to that area. So I think that's longer to return to play. It is harder to block with a rib block injection intercostal nerve block. Because I believe Stingley's is rib cartilage, not bone rib, but rib cartilage, not rib bone. That's why it's abdominal, lower on the rib cage. The soft bone cartilage area is where his injury is, and that's where muscle's attached to, which is why it's also called abdominal a little bit.
We'll have the update pod tomorrow, Doc, but real quick, we have 3 quick ones. Najee Harris did, in fact, suffer an Achilles injury, according to Harbaugh. Didn't confirm the tear, but obviously an injury will get,
Well, it's not ankle,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, technically it's the ankle area, so the
Right.
Chargers are not inaccurate in saying ankle. We've seen that a lot. But now that he said Achilles, he hasn't said tear, but we all unfortunately know that it is based on that video that we posted earlier.
I have a Nick Bosa update, and I want people to pair the audio you just said to what Shanahan just said. Shanahan said it doesn't appear to be an ACL injury for Nick Bosa, but they need more tests to figure out how significant the injury is. So
Well, thank you, Kyle Shanahan. First of all, did he hear me and just record?
it was
No,
a
I'm
second
just
after you
joking.
said it.
We're both
Yeah.
saying it simultaneously. But
Yeah.
my point is this.
Yeah.
It's just video.
Mhm.
If Kyle Shanahan can't, and he's actually been one of the
Straightforward, right?
that
Yeah.
doesn't coach speak that much. He's
Mhm.
just pretty straightforward on his injury warning. And if Kyle Shanahan doesn't know, how are we supposed to know off of video? Maybe the doctors have a lean, but they're not saying, but they don't know for sure either. They're waiting for the MRI. So that hopefully will be one of the things we update tomorrow, Nick Bosa.
And final update, just to wrap this up, Dr. Jerry Jones has said the team doctor said CeeDee Lamb's ankle injury is not as serious as it could have been, and just keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, first of all, ankle, good. Not as serious, yes, because if it was serious, he wouldn't have been allowed to even try to return to play. He got taped by athletic trainer Britt Brown in the blue medical tent, tried to come back and really couldn't. Not as serious, so not IR, but I love Jerry Jones, but Dr. Jerry is not nearly as forthcoming as Kyle Shanahan,
Yes.
right? There's a lot of spin involved in what Dr. Jerry says. I think it's going to be very hard for CeeDee Lamb to play this next week. If you have to set your fantasy lineup now, you have to be prepared for no. That's what I'm expecting, but also don't think you're going to put him on IR. So it's somewhere in between that.
All right, Doc, that's all I have for you. We can wrap this up and make sure everybody's ready for our update podcast tomorrow.
All right, what are the best things that we foreshadowed today, and what was the worst? I guess I could say, in some ways, the worst was not getting the over on Dallas Chicago
That
after
hurt, yeah.
38 points in the first half.
Yeah.
But same game, the best thing might have been Caleb Williams. And
Even though we get over, we read the props pretty well. We did have a Dunze 62.5, and he ended up with 62. So it's another hurtful thing that happened in the game for us. But
see, that's the hurtful game,
Yes,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But we liked Seattle. That was easy. We liked Indy. That was easy. And the Jets got a backdoor for us, even though it was more solid than a backdoor with the blocked kick. But they were down double digits and came back. and
Bucky
made it
Irving was
close.
good too, because like you said, if you have 25 carries, you're getting your over, props. So that was good for us on that one as well.
All right, we'll update you tomorrow morning. Hope you're enjoying the new format. Hope check out the halftime shows. Our guy Steve Fezzik's been hot. I think what's the record now? 10-3.
10-3-1.
10-3-1 with the halftime
Mm-hmm.
plays based on injuries, where we go live on Sports Grid and here on X and YouTube. It's always 11:30 and 2:30 Pacific time, or 2:30 and 5:30 Eastern time, where we go live and give you some analysis and plays in game. All right, and you see the code on the bottom, podcast, winning 56.5%, and get a free week to check it out by using that code. Thanks for watching and listening.